to Joseph Lisciotti.
Does everyone know the differences of the watercolor paper? Those of you who are watercolors, you know, have you ever heard of 200-pound hand-pressed Fabriano for Italy?
No.
Just feel that. I mean, that's, yeah, it's,
I want to feel it.
It's really rough.
yeah, it is rough. And I like the rough because when I put you in, you put your stroke across. Well, you'll see some of the stuff. I just wanted to be sure that everyone knew that there were differences, and I'm sure there are. How many people?
Where did you get it? Where did you get your paper?
Oh my God! Most of those I got when I was in Italy, but I took it home with me. I don't know what you can get here. I've never run out because I got as much as I could carry. Anyway, how many people do watercolors so that I can just get a okay? Let's do watercolors.
Stars.
Huh?
Start watercolor pencil.
You sure you can do that too? Yeah. I only asked that question because I was the all-time worst watercolorist. I'm just telling you, Charles, I'm only showing you. I just so happened to have kept the first sheet of paper I had to put a watercolor brush to, so we're going to have some fun with that. I don't want to take a lot of time, but I do want to buzz through a few things. Like anything else, I don't know about you folks. With watercolor, first of all, let me see if I'm telling you that here. No, I think that's pretty good. First of all, I appreciate you inviting me tonight. I do appreciate that. Thanks to this lady, I'm going to get back in this business again, or if you call it a business, I'm going to go back into the arts. I never left it, but I got way out of the circle. I mean, I used to be involved in the Watercolor Society, that kind of thing. All that's been gone. It's been 40 or 50 years since I really started painting again. So bear with me if I don't expect very much when you see the first few strokes anyhow. Here are some failures, just so we can start on the downside. Total failure.
Those are wet on wet?
Well, all wet on wet, correct. But,
Not failures.
well, no. As far as I'm concerned, I have never done anything 100% complete. So I just don't find it. But I did try to keep with the technique, which is the wet on wet. Once you put a dry stroke on a wet on wet painting, it doesn't become a wet on wet any longer, naturally. And by the way, I have no aversion to people who use wet and dry. I do as well. But I still like getting it all done, first of all, because I don't have patience, as quickly as I can, and let it fall where it may, or do it again. You can do 8, 10 paintings in a row of the same subject matter. Usually what happens is the first painting is the best and the last painting is the worst. So you wasted all that time. But anyway, and we won't go on with these, but there's some. You can see lax detail. This one is just a push. And I say a push, I mean you try to get it to do something you wanted to do. I have 747 airplanes in this one. So that I was near an airport that day. And this is something I ran out of. That's what's going to happen probably tonight. When you wet your paper, and you've got to get it done in that time, if for any reason it dries, you can't put another stroke in there. So that's why these things are partially done. This sort of looked nice, but when I looked at those things, first of all, they were out of perspective, which is beautiful. Anyhow, I'm not going to go on and on. This was an early one. There's a little story to this one. I tried to do a wet on wet watercolor painting on an easel, which means all the water ran down.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, talk about Italian stupid. That was a prize for me. So, now, these are a little better, but it gives you some idea. There's a story with this one. I'm sitting on a beach, on the Laguna, and suddenly these things start coming in, these cataracts. So I kept painting. I went up to the car to get the paint stuff out of my car, and I just did a series of these. Because it just, like I said, you do it quickly, and I just sat there in the sand and did these, and then it came to nightfall.
It's hard to paint wet and wet outside, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it depends. That's a good question, though. That's what this is about. We talked about getting things to stay wet longer. You can add glycerin to your water if you need to. Now, the problem is, if you add too much glycerin, it never dries. I mean, it dries eventually, but certainly not long enough for you to paint, because if you try to put a detailed stroke in, it immediately fuzzes and goes out. So those are the ones from Laguna. This is back home in the Revere Beach. I'm from Boston, by the way. You probably picked that up after we talked a little bit.
I like them all.
Well, no.
I did too.
Here's one. But the idea is you can do such different things. This way, again, on location if they're from Europe. This was near my hometown in Boston, Mass. I'm not going to go too much further here. And this was Old Niagara Falls.
Wow.
So,
And you did those how many years ago?
oh my God, I wish I dated them. I usually don't, but 30?
Really? And you haven't painted since then?
Although I've painted, but I don't do much watercolor anymore, but thanks to Amy, I'm gonna get back to it. Matter of fact, I got all this stuff. I showed this to someone, Joyce. This is what I use and carried with me everywhere, along with that thing. Okay?
Wow.
You can see that now.
That's
The
the
beauty of this though, which I can't do with this one yet, this happens to be a baker's tray. But that's the only thing I could find that was close to this, because everything else is plastic. Plus, I only use a 1-inch flat brush and a 6-inch round. So because of that, I'll get them in that. I use a 1-inch flat for all my paint and a 6-inch round. That's all I use for the brushes. Occasionally, I switch to this palette knife. There's a couple of different ones there. I'm going to be sharing with you what the differences are. Okay, so that's about that. It's gone a long way. Let's see what I am. Threw these out already. Oh, there's one I tried. I keep reminding everyone, I have never done a watercolor that I entirely like, so it takes a while. Now, to get to the thing that seems to fascinate most people who do watercolors, these next series, along with that one down here, is a watercolor done wet on wet with palette knife only. The good thing about it is you can get fine detail because you're using the side of the knife. So you can't do that with a brush with bristles, so to speak. That was one. This was ancient. This is a tulip series, but again, all done with knife. And no brush. I don't know why I did this, but
That was all done with that?
all wet, and it had to stay wet while I continued it. So.
Wow.
Watercolor. So,
That looks pretty difficult.
well, once you get the technique down, I always use the analogy when I was teaching.
Dracula's castle.
I'm sorry?
Is that it looks like Dracula's castle?
It does look like that. Yeah, there should be bats flying out. Anyway, when I generally talk to people about what they do and how to do it, and you got to learn what it is you're doing by continually doing it until you've mastered the technique. Okay? So that it's like I always use the analogy of a tightrope walker who first just starts going and he's worried more about his balance than anything else. If it's 1 foot at a time, it takes him forever to get wherever he's going. A couple of years later, with time and grade, he's juggling balls, he's got a clown suit on, you've seen him at the circus. They didn't start like that. Neither did I. That's the first piece of paper I ever put a watercolor brush in. Okay? Just so happened we had something in there that I liked the touch of. I figured I might try to paint it. So that's my first attempt that same day at a candy bar. I tried it again and was beaten again. And I kept working at it and working at it.
You're getting better and better.
Well, it's starting to show some progress. This one got away from me wet-wise.
I like it.
Oh, there it is. And finally, I even did this and put something in there that was made of glass so you can see
Really
it.
pretty. Yeah.
Now, when I finally stopped doing that particular item, was this one, only because I like this one best. Now, it may be good, maybe bad, people like it, don't like it. For me, it was my stopping point for doing the candy bar. So that's about that. So that's about it. If there are questions that I can help with, please let me know. I don't know how long I'm going to be here after, but I'm going to use half of what I generally do. Most of these are 15 by 22. Most of those are 15 by 22. I'm using half color. We'll be doing one and a half. Here's some of the pictures. Let's see what I have in here. Yeah, I figured, geez, I better do something before we go. So I have no idea what's going to come out. I never do. So I can just start and all of a sudden I'll put a stroke in, it'll run all over the place. And as you well know, the watercolorist, you can't cover a dark with a light. and you can't cover things that get dry and it gives you the edge of the water, which you didn't want. And you just can't work over watercolor. As a matter of fact, the more strokes you put in watercolor, the duller it doesn't have freshness to it. So these I just tried these last few days to see if I could get back into the program again. And you can say I need a lot of work. I need a lot of work. But it was worth trying. These are the same thing done twice. That was palette knife, and this is brush.
Yeah.
And lastly, this thing. So that's all of it I'm talking about what I've done. I figured I'd bore you with that. And end with, I never have done one that I liked entirely or that was totally a good piece of artwork. May have been acceptable, may have been pretty, but it just never fits the bill. There's always
We
something.
are all our own worst critics, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And rightly so in my case, so I don't know about you guys, but anyway.
I'm the same way, I never liked
I
it.
showed you the friend who was over here,
Never-
thanks to Sarah.
never did.
She's been an
Yeah.
amazing help to me. I was trying to get back, as I said, into this
Make more
kind of stuff again. And it was Amy that I went down to her shop, and she spent a little time with me and then suggested, would you like to come in and give a demonstration? At which point I said, that's going to be fun, and they may never come back again. But anyway. I intend to learn from all of you. I've already seen things back there that I think are very well done, extremely well done in all my years in the business. In demonstration, the wet on wet, I can't guarantee anything. All you do is I'm going to splash it on there and then you're going to take a look at it in a minute. No guarantees. Okay? Any questions about that?
No.
Let me begin, see what I can do. By the way, when you're using a palette knife, and this is what I miss about not having that one, which had all the old paint in the middle that I used to mix. That's all I have now to mix, a palette knife, is this stuff that's in the middle, which isn't much because I've only used this for about 4 or 5 days. But anyway, we'll try. See what we come up with. So, here's my, in this case, someone asked later, how do you make it dry and wet using acrylics and other things? We talked about that a little bit. With this, I try to get it to a point where I know it's going to last long enough for me to get it done. But I never know. I never know. So I use glycerin if the day is very, very humid or if I'm outside in the sun. And I try not to use it if I'm inside or it's pretty dry. So I don't know what's going to happen now, but let me start by just
So
letting it
how
think.
much water, just a little tiny bit of?
Oh, what, I'm sorry?
How much glycerin to
Oh,
the water?
Again, depending on the situation, like is it a humid day, then a lot less.
She means like a drop or 2 drops. Or
Yeah, 2-3 drops.
Okay.
In this size container.
Okay,
That's only a quarter full.
all right.
So, now we're gonna find out whether I knew what I was doing or not. The reason for this in wet on wet and the clips, because like you know with any kind of paint that you put wet on, it contracts, recedes, and has to come back in. So, I have to keep up with it all the time by making sure that I keep moving them, which you're gonna see me do over and over again, as this thing begins to relax, because you get the little valleys and hills, and you might put a stroke on top and it slides into the valley. So we want to avoid that if we can. I think I'm going to try this just for the heck of it. Oh, I can spread my paints, that's great. Let me, let's see, I think I'll use just blues here. Try that. Anybody got a crowbar? Ultra green.
Do you have a certain brand of paint that you use, or?
I used to, but I don't now. I used to have permanent pigment, I think was the name of it,
Really?
but that's years ago. They used to be all the skinny ones too, which I don't find it to be a little fatter. Let's see, I need some green.
What brand are you using tonight?
Can you read it for me? Because I can't.
It looks like Daniel Smith.
This is Daniel Smith,
There you go.
extra fine watercolors.
Give that lady a prize. I don't know what it is. I didn't even look at it. As a matter of fact, someone wanted me to go back and paint some more. That I said, you gotta give me some.
What is it? My acrylics, I can't remember. And then my acrylics that I use, I can't remember.
Ah, good, red sienna, I like that. Nice and warm. do that to show you. I'm more interested that today that you just take a look at what the, what it's like, so that you can try it sometime if you like, or not. So, jump in. I've done a quick sketch, and I mean, you don't do a pencil rendering if you're going to paint over it naturally. So this is just a rough, really rough outline. Matter of fact, this thing is drawing already. But we'll give it a try, see where we go. So let's try this. If I can see it.
And if anyone wants to come closer to see, feel free, come on up.
Is that the same paper you were talking about a while ago?
Yes, not the Fabriano, but it's similar to that.
So you don't add any water to your brush?
Very little, but it looks like already I'm getting dry, so we're gonna see something not happen tonight for this first one. See these are all dry strokes. These are certainly not what it is that I'm interested in doing, but I'm gonna see if I can't find the water.
So in this case, would you possibly, like on your second
Re-wet?
attempt, like maybe add a little extra glycerin?
Could, or I could put a little more water on it to begin with. Every time I'm doing something that I have to color on my brush, if I'm doing it against water, I always try to drag it down so that you can see it.
Reflection?
Yeah, with the reflections in there. Let me see if I can pull this down, because the mountain is going to get lost in this thing. You see the dry stroke? That's totally
Yeah.
unacceptable in dry watercolor. But it'll give you some idea. What's about... It's still wet enough here to get some texture in there, which is good. And you can start to see, I didn't put a sky in. Too late for that.
You didn't do what?
Sky.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can put it in before it's gone. You see the running?
Yeah.
You have to. Now, just keep in mind, if you look over my shoulder, all those you see against the wall were done in the very same way.
We're done what?
In the very same way,
Okay.
using the same technique. That's too bad. I don't know if it's going to be dry or not. It's
I
good.
never thought I'd do neither one, but now it makes sense because you know what the paper and do stuff like
It's already dry, so it's done. Let me see if I can just show you what a failure is. Can we start with one of those right away? Because my water got away. Of course, I also didn't put the paints down on the palette quick enough, but that'll give you some idea as to how I begin this thing. It's already curly.
Yeah.
So but you get the idea. And again, when you want to try
Right.
this, you're going to have to do it like I did over and over again with just strokes and nothing more. So let's see if I can keep it wet for a long period of time.
So when you're doing it with the palette knife, do you wet it with the glycerin too?
Same way,
Same
yeah,
way?
same wetness. No, I didn't draw anything here, so let me... If my paint doesn't get in it, then I'll try this one before I wet it. And this is about the amount that I draw.
When I first talked to Joe, he was telling me that, he'll do 12 paintings and each of them take about 10 minutes. And I was like, so you can do start to finish paint 10 minutes? I'm like, you want a demo for Northside?
Well, that went on for about 3 minutes.
I know.
Let's hope it stays a little wetter this time. I'll do it as fast as I can. Certainly a little watery. Usually it's nice to let it, like I say, relax and move your clips so that it stays flat, because as I suggested earlier, once it...
So where did you find your reference photo?
Reference photo.
Yeah.
That? I don't even know. Calendar maybe, something. I generally don't work from pieces of art. I generally work from photographs around locations, so that's a little different for me to see. Well, the yellow bit, yeah. Let's see what this guy's gonna look like.
So when you use your palette knife, you're actually drawing edges with it, correct?
Not just edges, but flanks as well.
Flat flanks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's staying wet. Look at it running.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to feel the paper when you buy it. I've seen this kind of stuff, this kind of something.
Well, we're gonna continue. Maybe when it gets a little drier, I can do some things.
Almost like that.
But notice how thin a line you can get, even with
Yeah.
that kind of wet.
When do you start with the knife?
Oh, when I do all knife. I only do knife in these if I need a sharp line like lines.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I don't
Like
know
I said,
if
anyone who wants to
it's
come
supposed to be
closer, feel
snow.
free.
Yeah, you're welcome to come up.
I don't want to be in on the.
I'm not gonna splash, you know.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Easily done. Easily done.
One thing I've learned already from you is those little clips, that little
Haven't
flat surface you got there,
Mhm.
you can create
Yeah,
that.
take me 30.
Right, and you can see it starting to buckle now, so I don't know how much
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to do, but you get the idea. Like I
Yeah.
said, what I want you to do is
No, I think I know.
see what's supposed to be done rather than how you do it right now.
But you don't put the paintbrush in water.
Right, I don't see him putting.
No, because the water's on the paper. If I put the paintbrush in water, when I put it back down on the paper, it would really.
But to rinse that color out, you don't bother.
Oh, yeah, the water, that's why this.
You do.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, I
way it
didn't
has
see
to
you
dry
do
it
that.
off.
But you've seen him dab it.
I ordinarily, if I was walking and I had stuff on the floor, I squeeze it between my fingers. I've done that before as well. Let's see now, before it gets too bad, from, let's go back again, a little bit more texture with it. That's starting to get dry. This is too. That won't be. Let's see.
So what do you do when it starts to dry too much?
Stop again.
So you stop and then you can't do anything more to
No,
it?
you can, I mean, you can doctor it by using ink or some other media and
Oh.
finish it up, make it strong. See that dry stroke? Nothing I can do about that.
Well, what about spray bottles, spraying it?
Good idea. The only problem with that is if you start spraying clear water on top of this, it'll leave a watermark where it dries
Okay.
when you try to add it. So it has to be all done supposedly during the time. Let's see this.
Okay.
Do you ever use a hairdryer to stop it when you get it to where you...
Never have. It's not a bad idea. It might be something to try sometime.
Oh, it dries really fast when you do it though. You know, I mean,
Yeah, right. I don't need fast, I need slow, that's it.
Unless you do a cool kind of one, you can set it on cool and then do it that way.
What?
Yeah. Don't dry it slower.
Well, that's getting close. Let's see, let me put a chimney too.
I have done wet first guys, and then I use a hairdryer when I got...
You do paint fast.
Yeah, got to. Now, I'm gonna leave out. I if it's still wet, let's see.
It's good to be this one. No, I get it.
And if there were a light side, a dark side, I'd try to put in some kind of a drying on there, so bear with me.
Wet on dry. And I guess that's what you do after it's dry.
What would happen if you just put water on your brush and went over some of those
It will run.
edges? Could you do that?
Yeah, let's try it.
Need to-
Make it wet again, but that may leave a watermark
Yeah.
because of the fact that it's not going to dry like the rest of the time. But anyway, this will give you some idea as to the way to start doing some of this stuff. And again, like I showed you in the first couple that I had when I first started doing watercolor, it just,
Keep practicing.
yeah, exactly. Let me get my little, I hope it's dry enough. Anybody see my round brush?
You had it.
Oh, good. Now, I'm going to try to make this as dry as I can because if not dry,
Doesn't come on it, cut mine out.
And I use.
So Joe, are you self-taught or did you take
took
classes?
classes then for many years, many different kinds of classes as well. It doesn't show up now, but eventually we'll get back to it again, so.
Did you take from any artists around here? Or?
No, the artist I went with was a guy by the name of Jim W. who was in Boston.
Oh, okay.
And he's the one that he and I used to take trips to Europe that we set up in advance, and people would read
Wow.
art magazines and they would sign
Yeah.
up for either 4 or 6 weeks.
Wow.
Hold it this way for me, Joe.
I'm sorry?
Hold it this way for me.
Well, this,
Nice.
it's curly.
Yes. then-
Anyhow, it gives you an image, an impression, and I'm a firm believer, and I love all the, and listen, I admire all art. I like the stuff in the back of the room. My favorite would be Impressionism. I just love Impressionism because it says, I'm going to stay open. It says so much with so little strokes. If you're familiar with Manet and those people during the Impressionist period, if you get up close to some of those paintings, you can't see anything but brush strokes until you get back far enough when the eye does the mixing for you. And that's what I try to achieve by saying, there's nothing here that's real, it's just Impressionism. Yeah?
Right.
I'm going to try a palette knife. And,
Oh, good. That's-
by the way, I said to myself, well, this probably is going to be good because the people are going to say, those are ugly. And I'm going to say, absolutely right. And what I do is I paint one over and over again until it got to where I wanted it to go. Now we're going to try to see if I can get the palette knife knives to work. But, I'm not going to, usually when you're doing palette knives, and wet on wet watercolor it is, you scrape off the old paint that you've left behind with the knife. You don't squeeze new paint on because it'll run like crazy anyway with paint. So let me see what I can do with this one. Let me make this one a little better. Oh, I forgot one thing. Anyone remember? I didn't do a sketch.
Oh.
So I have no idea. I think what I'll do is try to just guess at that one. Now the good part about this, like I say, is you can take, let's see if I get any on here.
What kind of paint is this?
Ooh. Ooh, that's really cool.
And it's running, so that's all.
Yeah.
And now again, this.
Do you have to have that rough of paper to do that
No,
technique?
not necessarily, but the rougher paper makes it better. Let me see. Let's see.
Right.
It's running, if you can't see it from where you are. It's wrong. That way, this way, down here, down here, and it goes this way.
So you're basically drawing with the edge of the knife?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't really care what the color is. I'm more interested in what you see, whether it's the color you want or not at this point in time. All I'm interested in is getting an image. So let's see.
Yeah, you can tell the advantage, because when you want to make a hard edge, you can with that.
Right, with this you can. Run it right down, even on the wet, it still
Right.
stays fairly well.
But you're not doing
Yeah.
hard enough to indent the paper, are you?
Oh, no,
No.
no, not cutting through the paper. I've never cut through the paper.
Right.
The only time I've cut through a paper is when I didn't do this, and all of a sudden, it dries to a point where it tears the paper, when it starts to contract. So you have to keep moving it up and down. Let's see.
Do you ever use an easel?
No, not on when I went watercolor, because it would roll downhill. Like I tried with that one piece I showed you earlier.
Except with an easel.
I'm sorry?
They weren't working well on that, were they? Or I don't know, I just saw.
That really gives you more of an impressionistic,
Yeah. It does. There's nothing realistic about these. You know, the idea that it's that you're doing the entire piece of artwork on a wet surface with just with just a knife. I'm gonna put a little snow in there if I can get it. See, now that's wet paint. That's why I said having that over and just take whatever it was that was in there. It's not painting, so
so you don't want that?
not necessarily, but it's,
Oh.
we're gonna see what we get.
I bet you can make good rocks with that, couldn't you?
Yes.
Good rocks with that?
Uh-huh. Not working like I thought, but then again, I told everybody no guarantees, so you're gonna have to live with it, so. But I think I would like someday for you guys to give it a try. I have a feeling you'll probably enjoy doing this someday. And again,
Okay.
you don't have to, oh, by the way, showing your work. As far as I'm concerned, your work is like a diary. I don't believe that you need to show it to anyone, but I do believe you shouldn't be throwing things away, because you'll never know later on if it's something that you liked. Or you can tell yourself when you began.
It's like I told him earlier, you find a painting, turns out it's done by a master and get $4 million.
Exactly. This one will not net that kind of money, so you don't have to worry about it.
For $60.
It's still wet enough. I'm trying to just get shit.
A good painter is. Just go through it every once in a while.
So-
Get rid of those things.
Almost done. But notice how long have we been working this? 5, 10 minutes, maybe?
Probably.
Well, yeah.
I use both sides of the paper when I get them.
That's right, that's what somebody said, both sides of the paper, absolutely. You'd be buying paper forever. Let's see.
Yeah, it just adds color to the other side, that's all.
You might have a masterpiece on the other side.
Something very
It must be a blank side if that's the case. Okay, so it speaks.
See those, that like they took all of the top of the German stuff?
It's not pretty, but
Oh, man.
it's,
Well, I like it.
well,
Yeah.
I don't,
I like that technique.
I hope you all try it, because it's a fine and fun technique to do. But
This way for me, Joe.
keep in mind when you're doing it, keep in mind that I had those about the candy bottle. And you saw the difference from the first day I tried it to the last day I tried it, so. Anyway, this will give you some idea. That's just knife. You'd never know unless someone told you, because they said,
Right.
oh, sure, I'm sorry. I will try to. It doesn't dry when you want it to, it dries when you don't want it to. That's what that
I think I can do that.
You can, and you should. You do abstract work. I think this is pretty abstract to me. So, this one here, failure. Now, let's try something else, just for the heck of it. Yeah, this, wet on wet, bad.
So do you guys want to see him do another wet on wet or another palette knife?
Whatever he picks out, just.
Whatever he picks out?
Picks out.
Yell at anybody,
Can you
whatever.
combine them?
Oh, sure, sure, sure you can. Matter of fact, that's what I like so much about
Yeah, it's
having
what
a
I
knife
figured
handy.
still.
Let me try drawing on this thing. Let's say we're gonna do a,
It's good thing, it's good. It's expensive too.
it's enough drawing.
Doing a boat?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I should be changing my water because this water's gonna start getting dirty. So, let's see. But again, the beauty is we've done three, both, all of them bad, but they also were all done in 15 minutes or less, so.
Right.
You can do it to your heart's content. When you make a mistake, the way I thought I learned best was when I made the mistakes, I just did another one and tried to move from where I was to what should be done. You know, it gets you to start to do better work because make this a real wet thing. I can't put the boat in yet because that needs to be, right, the last thing.
Spruce Island.
I'll try to put, I think I'm gonna put a,
Reminds me of Spruce Island.
some other color sky, I don't know what it's gonna be.
Sunset sky, yeah.
Let's just do something like this.
So when you did your larger ones, how
Yes.
thick was the paper? Because I'm like, especially those bigger ones you got over there.
Go faster.
Go
More
faster.
glycerin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, go faster, okay.
I don't know what color this is, but it is.
No, that didn't make the original. I like, that's what the acrylic thing.
I can
This is gonna be awfully strong.
I didn't like the
Color
color.
it off a little bit. I'm trying to get a,
I use,
just a line to show where it all was.
gosh, Liquitex.
What's that? Rain?
No,
Sounds like
they're
a
moving
car
something.
Oh my God.
There.
I don't know what color we're gonna do. I guess those are the
And I use a student grade because I can't, it's a little thinner and a little creamier than the harness grade. All Liquitex is I asked him, how is it this word being like safe, you know, does that hold up? And the guy says, should hold up just as good as the artist grade.
Now, let's try to see if we get a boat in
I
there.
would use it for
So we'll use the knife.
Put outdoors in the weather.
I put them outside.
Clean it up. Notice you have to keep doing this.
Right.
It's a pain in the neck, but if it's not flat, it's gonna run all over the place.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna try to, generally don't do that either. Generally do one stroke, and if the stroke doesn't hold, that's the end of it. In this case, Good wet.
I use blue painted paper.
Does it stick?
Yeah, well, see, I don't wet it all down first either. I don't paint that way. I've never done that before. This is all
Jagged
nice.
edges too, you know, you're not just painting.
I draw picture
Inside
and
and
I
out.
just paint some paint.
Yeah.
You know, I've been watching people do it. I don't know what they do stuff anymore.
So to actually use the,
Put it in, take it, let it dry, and stay until it's wet, and then when it dries, it stretches.
I can take it down and get it wet. I don't do it before you take it.
It's not really stretching.
Oh, okay. Well, see, what do I know? That's why I come here.
I have a feeling I know a lot of people who are going to be trying watercolor with their palette knife now.
Hey, just throw everything away and just get into it.
I gotta go find my.
I'm one of them.
You're one?
That's gonna try it.
Good for you. I hope everyone
Where did
tries
you
it,
get
if
the
nothing
paper?
else. Then I won't be alone when I'm laughing at my work, so yeah.
We've just got regular watercolor.
Well, you know, anything is good. All is good. Any kind of art is fine as I'm concerned, it's good. Oh, to show me something. Trying to get these tied down. Just put a,
I did buy some.
Well, I sometimes paint right out of the tube with my palette knife.
good, good. Have you done that?
Found it.
Yeah,
It's right by the, in front of that box. It's got all
not a
the paintings
Greco.
in it by the bar.
Who used to do the ones that he squeezed right,
I gotta get my own.
I'll think of his name in a minute.
It's pretty big anyway. You get some more pads.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get some colors
Yeah,
that I had up above.
I like the watercolor, the knife with the soft, the wet and wet.
Well, wet, yeah, because it just does what you want it to do.
I see that I put the ink
I'm gonna get a couple of words in there somewhere.
Look up real quick, Jeff.
Can you do that palette with dry paper? Or does it have to be?
Look up real quick,
That's,
Jeff.
you'll get a different image, you can do it.
You can do it.
Sure.
She wants you to look
It's
up.
nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm too busy. Hang on, I'll be there in a minute.
One quick look.
Look and smile.
Awesome.
There's also,
She can be busy.
there's a thing you can get.
Oh, yeah.
I miss my old palette, so. And like I say, now, you're looking at something that I haven't done in years, as you can probably see. I don't think that needs an
I don't know, I
explanation.
think you're
I don't
picking
think
it up
that
back
needs
up
an explanation.
again pretty quickly.
Anyway, it's lots of fun. And I'm hoping that you guys, as creative as you all are here, because you know, we didn't join the art association because you weren't. So I'm very pleased with what you guys have. The fact that you've got some leadership in Sarah and Amy, you guys fortunate to have it. Oh, that's another thing. If you want to, you can scratch with this thing as well. See?
Oh, okay, scratch paint out? Okay.
When you get stuff, when you say,
Oh, these are all wet on wet, like what I'm doing. That one's palette
I've never
knife.
seen that.
All palette knife. Yeah. And we got hundreds of them. But anyway,
yeah.
let's see.
They'll send you stuff.
I'm gonna roll again, I think. But again, is there a right or wrong? Is there a better technique, one than another? It's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see back there, I mean, some of those things like the flesh tones in a couple of those things. One was done with pencil and all kinds of other media, the other one seemed to be done with watercolor. Just beautiful pieces. I didn't, this one because it came in last, eagle. And if you get a chance, look closely at the feathers. I mean, the feathers look like the wind would blow and they would move. That's really good. Okay? And what I say is when you're doing any kind of work, learn to do the subject matter more than once. Don't just do one thing one time. Try it 2-3 times. It doesn't have to be immediate time, but do it again and again until you get to know the subject matter so well that it almost becomes ingrained in your mind and you can just go at it with nothing on the paper. So,
Right.
this is going to curl again, but You know, I didn't put a rudder on this one, but I don't know, it'll give you some idea. So
Well, I think
my
it's very.
birds are
Yeah.
flopping and
Yes,
I can't hold it, this is turning
being
away.
done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of this thing, is it's done in 5 minutes. And who cares what comes out? Because I want to do another one, and another one, and another one, until I get what I want. And like I said earlier, sometimes the first one you do is the best, and the last one is the worst. You don't know that, so you keep doing it. But you learn from each experience. You remember what it is you did that worked and didn't work. You apply that to future pieces. And before you know, you expand your base. Some of those people, like I say, I mean, it was very difficult to pick one. Perfectly frankly, I like them all. I like them all. Including, what is her name there, that does the Howling Wolf in the
Rachel.
beautiful place. Yeah, beautiful. Abstract. I'm the furthest thing from abstract. These are impressions. Abstract. Like what? Show what you do. I just can't do this. Anyway, you want any more, or you want some more, or what do you want to do?
How about a huge round of applause for Joe, our newest member? Not only did he do one painting for us, or two, or three.
That's a record.
He holds the record for doing the most paintings at a Northside demo, 4 paintings in one night. Huge round of applause. And welcome to Northside.
Hey, thank you. I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Focused in North St. Louis County, Northside Art Association is a nonprofit 501c3 arts organization that serves local artists through community exposure, networking, education, and peer interaction. Learn more about Northside Art Association at www.northsideartassociation.org.